That reminds me. Someone mentioned the clothing that the deceased was wearing on the day of the incident. That's odd. There's nothing that stands out about the clothing. Somebody said something about what the deceased had been wearing that day. Something about this shirt is bothering me. That's right. The deceased was apparently wearing a red t-shirt on the day of the incident. Did he change after he got home? Or was there some reason for changing his shirt? This does raise some doubts. The electrician supposedly came to the victim's room to fix his air, but he didn't repair the ceiling fan? Or did the fan break after the electrician had left? In any case, I'll need to hear his account again.
This is a blood stain. One moment, please. I did some quick calculations. A stain of that size would take about 800 milliliters of blood.
The average adult male would have to lose at least 1,500 milliliters in order to bleed to death. This means that... How could I do that? Well, the amount of blood loss required varies from person to person, so this isn't quite proof. It is unusual, though. I'll have to remember it.
Dr. Kimishima, did you receive the voice data?
From the deceased's girlfriend? Have you sent it?
You should be able to listen to it using the recorder. Please listen to it when you can.
Right. First, I want to know about the deceased's source of income.
He did seem fairly well off for somebody without a steady job.
Indeed. I'll be listening for that while I'm going over the recording.
Yes? He said that was... Yes. Yeah. Yes, I fixed his heater.
He fixed the heater. Something about that seems odd. Yes, the deceased's neighbor mentioned that. Summer is already starting. And yet, on the day of the incident, the deceased wanted to have his heater repaired? There's something strange about this after all.
Seriously? What do you guys want? I've got work to do, so let's get this over with. Huh? Dennis? You mean Dennis Taylor? Wow, that name brings back bad memories. We broke up years ago. Yeah, at first I thought he was an interesting guy, pretty cool and all. But he never had a job, and he just kind of wandered through life. Oh, but he always had money. I'm sure he didn't come by it honestly. Oh. Ugh, are you really this slow? Don't you get it? Drugs. He was a drug dealer.
Good heavens. The deceased's been holding on to quite a secret. I'm going to have to change the way I approach this case. Let's go through the information we have, now that we know the deceased's true identity. Unbelievable. The deceased had this hidden dark side to him.
This is looking more and more like a case worth investigating. If Dennis Taylor was a drug dealer, then there could be a variety of reasons to kill him.
Still, I can't let my prejudices cloud the truth. I need to remain objective. However, it seems that we're going to have to change our views regarding this case.
Right. I'll prepare the CSI's ALS.
ALS, the advanced light source that can adjust the wavelength being emitted?
That's right. An object's visibility depends on the light being reflected from that object. The ALS lets you select a particular wavelength to focus only on what you want to see.
Or hide what you don't want to see.
Huh? Oh, no.
I'll try using it. Thanks, little guy. There's white powder scattered on the floor. It looks like there are footprints in it. I can guess at what this powder is, but I should send it in for analysis just in case. This powder on the floor seems to trail behind the shelf. Bingo. There's more of that powder inside this hole in the wall. What an obvious place for a hiding spot. Mr. Taylor wasn't all that clever.
Dr. Kimishima, about that white powder that was spread on the floor, there were traces of drugs found within it. A number of different sets of footprints were identified in that powder as well. They all belonged to the firefighters, police, and you, of course.
I see. That means... Exactly. That would be the case. The room belonged to the deceased. If the drugs had been spread on the floor before the incident, his footprints should be there as well. But the only footprints in the room were from people who had entered after the fire. This would mean that the drugs would have to have been spread before or soon after the fire began. I still have doubts. My main concern about this is... Yes, fans circulate air within a room. If the owner was having his air system fixed, the fan should have been considered part of it. Why then would the electrician fix only the heater and not the ceiling fan? All right, let's go over the information we've gathered. First, the white powder. Yes. The trail of drugs led directly to the hole behind the shelf. If the same powder from the floor was inside the hole, then... That's right. But there weren't any drugs inside the hole. The layer of drugs had footprints from the firefighters, the police, and me left in them. All of the footprints had something in common. There weren't any footprints from before the time the fire began. So from this, we can deduce that the drugs must have been scattered on the floor when... Oh! Yes. If I take this even further, I'd say that it would have been after Mr. Taylor stopped moving. In other words, it must have happened between his death and when the fire started. But why were there drugs on the floor? Yes, they must have spilled out when someone removed the drugs from the hole in the wall. Dennis Taylor was killed, and someone walked out with the drugs. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what happened here, but there's no proof just yet. I need to move on to the next step. I should consult with Little Guy about this.
Dr. Kimishima, have you confirmed that it's a murder after all?
I don't know how you heard about that so quickly, Little Guy. Have you been eavesdropping on me?
Huh? What? No,
Forget it. I can see right through you.
oh, right. I have a new tool for you. It's luminol. Do I need to explain it to you?
A chemiluminescent material based on reducing 5-nitrophthalhydrazide with sodium dithionite. It reacts to iron and hemoglobin by glowing, making it useful to find otherwise hidden bloodstains. Anything else?
No.
Good. I just spray this onto suspicious areas, then shine the ALS on it, right? I'm sure it will be useful. Thank you, Little Guy. So there were bloodstains here too. If these are from the deceased, we may be able to use this with something else that we know. That's right. There were 2 different bloodstains left in the deceased's room. Now, which of these bloodstains happened first? That's true. Unless the corpse got up and walked over by itself, it's most likely that the deceased died where the first bloodstains were found, and then was carried to the bed afterwards. That would explain why there was such a small amount of blood on the bed itself. But I wonder why. I get the feeling that there's something very wrong about this. Indeed. At first glance, it doesn't seem like these refer to the same person at all. On the one hand, drug-dealing scum enjoying his life. On the other, a man with suicidal depression. Either one of these clues is false, or there's more to this shady business that I haven't found out. In either case, the truth of the matter is that he was indeed a drug dealer. There's a rope wrapped around the shaft of the ceiling fan. There's no mistake. Those are bloodstains.